In this video, I'm going to be showing how to beat Expert Rhino with just the core set. If you find this helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. Now let's jump into it. Rhino on Expert mode is a lot harder than Rhino on Standard. And the reason this is because on Stage 2, when he comes into play, you're already going to start with the side scheme, and he just has a lot of attack. So by Stage 3, he's going to be tough, stun you, and have 4 attack. So when you're thinking about how to beat a villain, you want to take into account what is strong about this villain, what is weak about this villain, and then choose a hero and a deck that's going to be able to counter that. So for Rhino, he hits hard, and so from his 3 attack and 4 attack, and he has a lot of treacheries that are going to cause him to attack. And the other thing he do is he blocks damage. He gets tough frequently. He has guard in the deck, and he heals damage as well with a couple of his cards. And then on the break-in, he only has 7 per player threat on it. So in single player, this means that if there's any amount of threat on it, you have to flip down because you're low health, because he has high attack or something. Once he schemes once, and then if he gets an advance or a minion schemes along with him, you can just lose the game in 1 turn. So that makes it very difficult. And then specifically on Expert, he starts with this hazard icon. So you'll get an extra encounter card every turn. And then Stage 3, as I mentioned earlier, tough and stuns you. So that can be really hard to deal with. His weaknesses, though, is that Rhino's a very one-dimensional villain. You know what he's going to do when he comes into play. Like, you're not going to get surprised by Rhino. He's going to bring out a minion. He's going to damage you. He's going to heal. He's going to get tough. Or the bomb scare will come into play and you'll get a side scheme to deal with. And that's about it. So, in order to mitigate what Rhino's good at, you want to finish turn 1. Finish breaking and taken on turn 1. This is going to be crucial because the way it works is if you don't finish it, you'll keep getting out dealt 2. And then when you get dealt 2 encounter cards instead of 1, it can snowball the game and then just make you lose off that. So you want to finish this on turn 1 guaranteed. Don't want to let it stick around any longer. And then you're going to want to choose a hero that can deal with taking a lot of damage. And then also the justice aspect, because you have limited options, especially with just the core set, to thwart. So you want to choose the justice aspect to guarantee that you can finish this break-in and taken on the first turn, and then also mitigate the low threat on break-in throughout the game. To counter all that, I'm going to choose Peter Parker. 1, because he's thematic, and then 2, because he's really strong and he actually counters Rhino very well. So what can Peter do? He blocks damage. He has a lot of burst damage. He draws a lot of cards, meaning you have a lot of resources, and it's a thematic matchup. The weaknesses he has, though, is that he only has 1 thwart, so he's very vulnerable to the main scheme for Rhino, and he doesn't have a thwart event. The Spider Tracer only works if there's a minion out, and Rhino doesn't have a ton of minions, so you're not guaranteed to have a minion. Because of those reasons, Justice is the aspect that I chose for him. This gives me access to Surveillance Team and Heroic Intuition, which are going to be big, along with for Justice. So here on this slide are all of the cards that I think are very crucial for this matchup. For the hero, you have Webbed Up, which that counters Rhino because Rhino wants to hit you hard, and Webbed Up is going to block 2 attacks, not just 1. Swinging Web Kick is great because you can burst him down in like 1 turn. Backflip, you get to just block all the damage from an attack, which can be crazy good at times. It's one of the best feeling cards to play in the game. Black Cat is fantastic because she does 1 damage every single turn. She doesn't take the consequential on attacks. So what you can do is just keep her around to ping off all the tough status cards. Aunt May, if you do take damage, can heal you back to full just by flipping down once. So you flip down, heal 4 with Aunt May. Ready up, you get access to your scientist resource, and then you get to heal another 4. So it's actually 8. 8 before you have to flip back up, and then you'll still have your activation because you won't have needed to exhaust. So that's very crucial as well. For the basic cards, I supplemented it with first aid and emergency, and with just the core set, you have limited options, right? But emergency is going to be good because it's an interrupt, not a hero interrupt. So if you do get that advance when you're an alter ego for some reason, you can use this to reduce the amount of threat that he places from his scheme by 1. That can just save you sometimes. It can make the difference between winning and losing the game for sure. First aid has two uses, right? So you have low thwart. So what you can do with first aid is you can heal up your allies like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, who are better at thwarting than you, and then actually keep them around so you don't have to just discard them. Spider-Man can handle the damage on his own with his 3 defense and webbed up and backflip. So you generally don't need to block with your allies, so you can keep them around with first aid, which is a pretty strong combo. And then for justice cards, you only have 2 options for allies, so I included both. They're both pretty solid though. So Daredevil is really good because he thwarts 2, then deals 1, which like Black Cat can ping off tough status cards, or it can help to take out minions. Jessica Jones is really good because if there are side schemes out, like Rhino starts with 1 on the first turn, she gets +1 for each of those. So if you find her, she'll be able to get you out of any of the tight spots she stops you from losing basically. And then for some reason she has 2 attack, which is fantastic. The 2 attack works very well. It's a lot of damage for the justice aspect. And then for justice, this card is going to allow you to finish breaking and taking on the first turn and just keep the main scheme under control. And then surveillance team works really well with for justice because for justice, you will often over thwart, but surveillance team doesn't have that problem because you put it into play, it thwarts 1 less, but then also you can save it for when you need it. So you can bring the main scheme down to 0 with for justice whenever, and then surveillance team can keep it at 0, so it mitigates a lot of the threat, and then you'll be able to feel safer in the game. So this is an important concept of just how to be expert villains in general. On standard, you can kind of just go in and then win. Just hit the villain as hard as you can. It's like a race, and you can win a lot of the time just by doing that. But in expert, you got to be methodical, and you have to plan out what you're doing. So when you start playing against Rhino here, don't try to beat Rhino. What you're trying to do is make it to this spot in the game. It's like chess. Like in a chess game, you can't plan out what's going to happen for the entire game because it's too unpredictable. So what you do is you do things like control the center, develop your pieces, cast your king, keep it safe. You're not focused on checkmating the enemy. You're just focused on getting yourself to a stronger position. And it's the same thing here in Marvel Champions. So this is the example board state of 8 health, 1 threat. You have full health. So like I said 8 just because you can chip him down throughout the game. And you just keep the threat low, stay full health, build out. Your win condition is this. You'll just keep chipping down on Rhino 2 until you get him down to like 1 or 2 health or something, meaning that you can just flip him whenever you want. And then this is what's going to happen. Rhino 3 will come out. He'll be tough. You'll be stunned, right? He has 16 health. So you don't want to stick around with tougher villains. In general, you want to, when you're playing on expert, the last villain's going to be really difficult. So what you want to do is just beat them in 1 turn with a bunch of burst damage, because then they can't stick around. They can't scheme if they're dead. In this board state, if it's your turn, Spider-Man can attack and get rid of stunned. It won't do any damage. Black Cat can ping the tough status card off, and then Rhino will be sitting there. Spider-Man will be exhausted. Black Cat will be exhausted as well, but then you won't be stunned. Rhino won't be tough. So then all you need is 2 swinging web kicks, because again, he has 16 health on this side, and 2 swinging web kicks deal 16 damage. So you want to be, once you get towards the end, you'll want to be saving up your swinging web kicks. And then if you have 5 cards in your hand, a double resource, and 2 other cards, it could be anything, that's enough to afford it. Because 1 swinging web kick, you need 6 resources, right, to play this. Genius is 2, the other 2 are 4, it gets you up to 4. And then Mansion will draw you a card. Helicarrier will reduce the cost, bring you up to 6. And this is going to be pretty easy to do because there's also a chance that you'll get to draw a card from the villain phase when Rhino attacks you. So then once you get here, it doesn't matter what else is on the board. There could be side schemes, there could be minions. The only thing that matters is guard. Remember that he has guard in his deck, so you might have to take out a minion and then do this. But this is your goal. You control the board. Get to here where you have 16 damage in your hand, and then just beat Rhino in 1 turn. Now, I'm going to go over the deck profile that I'm going to be using to beat Rhino on Expert with Spider-Man. So, first, every deck you should build should have these 3 resources in it. There's very rare cases when you don't want that. And then, these, because they're going to, the Avengers Mansion and Helicarrier are going to allow you to play more cards, see more cards, and are very powerful overall. they're still very good in almost any deck you make. And then Nick Fury and Mockingbird, of course, because even to this day, again, they're still two of the strongest cards in the game. Nick Fury lets you draw 3, deal 4, or remove 2 threat right when he comes in, so he's incredibly versatile. Most of the time, use him to draw cards, but if you really need the damage or something, go for it. Mockingbird stuns, can thwart a little bit, block, fantastic ally. And then for the rest of basic, just 2 copies of Haymaker. The reason I have those is because when you only have the core box, you don't have that many options for damage, especially if you choose Justice. So it'll just provide a little bit of extra damage that can help with minions or final push or something on Rhino. And then specifically because of how Rhino works, 2 copies of Emergency. If Rhino schemes while you're in Alter Ego or something, you can reduce that by 1, which can stop you from losing the game. Now onto Justice. So allies are very strong, but there's not that many. There's only Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Add both of them. They're both very good. Daredevil thwarts 2, deals 1. Jessica Jones can help you defeat side schemes and has 2 attack. Both very useful allies. And then for the rest of Justice, 3 copies of 4 Justice, because you want to finish the break-in and taken on the first turn. So you need to do that. So this will help you do that, and then help you for the rest of the game mitigating for it. And then 3 copies of Surveillance Team. Surveillance Team, in combination with 4 Justice, should mitigate all the threat you need. Surveillance Team is good because it can manage threat over the course of the game. So if you get 1 or 2 copies of these out, you don't really have to worry that much. If you're in hero form, you can just remove the 1 threat Rhino places every time. And then it combos well with 4 Justice because 4 Justice can help you with big thwarts. This can help you with small, so it covers all your bases. Can finish side schemes, get yourself out of a bad situation with this. And then this is just control. And it helps you keep things under control. And then the final card here, Heroic Intuition. Spider-Man only has 1 thwart, so he really needs that extra thwart. And then, so basically, if you get an ally and these cards, an ally and Heroic Intuition, you'll be able to finish Breaking and Taken on the first turn. Also, 4 Justice will allow you to finish it on the first turn, or 2 allies will allow you to finish it on the first turn. So that means you're going to have a lot of options to finish Breaking and Taken on the first turn. And then you'll notice that all of these are 2 cost. This is 2 cost. Jessica Jones and Daredevil are 3 and 4. So that makes Power of Justice perfect for this deck because it can just pay for 4 Justice or Surveillance Team outright. And then it will allow you to afford Jessica Jones and Daredevil when you otherwise couldn't. So 3 more basic cards. First Aid. What First Aid is going to allow you to do is heal up your allies because, like I said, Spider-Man is not great at thwarting. He is really good at blocking, though. So what you can do is you can get Jessica Jones or Daredevil, Mockingbird, and Black Cat onto the table, and then keep them around with First Aid. Because Spider-Man can block the damage for himself. He doesn't need help staying alive. You can still use this for yourself if you absolutely need to, but the best use for this is going to be keeping Daredevil around, because Daredevil is going to be able to thwart 2 and deal 1 every turn. And that wraps up the deck. Let's get into the gameplay. Peter Parker doesn't have any character setup stuff, so I'm just going to draw my first hand. I get 6 hand size. Now, let's look at this. The Surveillance Team is good, but it's not necessarily what I'm looking for on the first turn, because on the very first turn, my main goal is to finish Breaking and Taken. So, Aunt May is just one of the best cards in my deck, and I'm going to need her to heal. So I don't want a mulligan here. Backflip is going to be really good to cancel the damage. So I need an ally with 2 thwart here, or I need a or Justice. I'll keep these 2 because they're very good. Mulligan these 4. Okay, so this was not good. It still might be okay. Saving grace here is that I got Heroic Intuition. So this is not a good case scenario. Hopefully I can still win here. So I'm going to pay for Heroic Intuition. So I put it on the table. I'll use my Scientist resource to generate 1 mental resource, and then discard 1 Backflip for a total of 2 resources, playing Heroic Intuition. Then I'll play Black Cat. Black Cat costs 2. I want to keep Aunt May, so I'll discard these 2 cards. Then, Force Response. After you play Black Cat, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Add each card with a printed mental resource discarded this way to your hand. So since this is a forced response and not a response, I don't have a choice in whether this happens. So I discard 2, 1, 2. So I got Swinging Web Kick. This is a mental resource, as you can see. So I'll add that to my hand. And I can actually use this to pay for Aunt May. So we're in a pretty good spot here. That was not exactly what we were looking for, but we made it work. I'll flip into hero form now, and I'll have Spider-Man thwart for 2, leaving this at 1. And then Black Cat thwarts for 1. This does deal 1 consequential damage to her because she only ignores it for an attack. See, there's no symbol there. So that ends my turn entirely. I'll ready my characters and draw up to my hand size, which my hand size is 5 now. So here's my hand for anyone that's curious. And now it's Rhino's turn. Main scheme goes up by 1 per player. And then Rhino, oh, this is discarded. And then Rhino is going to activate against me for an attack. So this immediately triggers my Spider Sense, letting me draw a card. It's emergency. So it's not going to be super useful right now, but it's still good for a resource. Then I will choose to block here. Do I want to block? This is a good question because I have Aunt May already, meaning I can heal 4. So do I need the activation here? I think the answer is I don't think I'm going to block here because I have Webbed Up and Aunt May. I value my activation. So let's see. So it's 3 damage plus 0 boost icons. So it's just 3. Meaning that I take 3 damage now. Then I get 1 encounter card. Now I reveal it. Caught off card. When revealed, discard an upgrade or support you control. If no cards were discarded this way, this gains Surge. So this is a difficult decision here because I only have 1 of each of these in my deck. I think Aunt May is more important, so I'll discard Heroic Intuition. We got the main use we needed out of it, which was just finishing that scheme on the first turn. So now it's my turn. So I'm going to start here by playing Nick Fury. And the reason I'm going to start with Nick Fury is because you always want to do the card draw at the beginning of your turn so that you can see all of your options. So Nick Fury costs 4. I'll use 1, 2, 3, 4 resources to pay for Nick Fury. Then, Force Response. After Nick Fury enters play, choose 1. Force Response. After Nick Fury enters play, choose 1. Remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage. At the end of the round, if Nick Fury is still in play, discard him. So, I'm going to choose to draw 3 cards. Nice. So, this is what I have in my hand now. I can afford Webbed Up. But I don't think that's going to be the best play here because I want to play Surveillance Team, and Nick Fury is guaranteed to block for me here. So I don't want to stun Rhino while I have a blocker when he's going to discard himself after this turn. So there's 1 to thwart. I'll have Spider-Man thwart 1. Or no, I'm going to wait on that. So now I'll use the power of justice to play surveillance team. Surveillance team comes in play with 3 counters. And then it says action, exhaust surveillance team and remove 1 snoop counter from it, remove 1 threat from a scheme. So I will do that. Remove the threat from break-in. Then I will discard 1 first aid to pay for another first aid. And I'll heal my identity 2. Because you can heal 2 damage from any friendly character. Wait, just as heal 2 damage from any character. Interesting. So now I'll exhaust Spider-Man to attack for 2. I'll exhaust Black Cat to attack for 1. She does not take a consequence for damage. I'll exhaust Nick Fury to attack for 2. Nick Fury does take a consequential damage. Then, that'll end my turn. I'll ready up. And then draw up to my hand size. There, I made it to my hand size of 5. Now, 1 threat goes on the main scheme. Rhino is going to attack me. So that initiates my spider sense, letting me draw 1 card. It was genius. I will choose to block with Nick Fury. You have to choose who you're blocking with before you see what the boost card is. So it's 3 damage plus 1 boost icon. 4 damage. No overkill though. So Nick Fury just discards himself. Or not discards himself. He's defeated. So he goes in my discard pile. I get 1 encounter card. I'll reveal it now. When revealed, you are confused. If you're already confused, this card gains Surge. So, Spider-Man is confused. I don't have a way to cancel it in my hand. And it's my turn now. Okay. So, I don't want to be confused anymore. So, I will exhaust myself to thwart, which when you exhaust yourself to thwart while you're confused, it just discards this instead. There are no minions out. Oh, I'll spread this out so everyone can see what I'm talking about. So there are no minions out, so Spider Tracer isn't very useful here. I'll use this as a resource to get my web shooter, which comes in with 3 counters. And if I don't need to, I don't want to use these counters. I will use these only when I can't, and it enables me to do something that I couldn't do without it. So, this is an interesting question now. So, I can pay with, I want to web him up here to give me some more time. But the interesting question is, I have 2 swinging web kicks, or 3 in my deck. You're allowed to search discard pile, or look at discard piles at any time. You'll see I have 1 swinging web kick in here, but not 2. So if I save my swinging web kick, I can get him to low health. But I'm not sure. I'm just going to make a decision here. I think it makes sense either way to pay with swinging web kick or not pay with it. I will first put this on the table. It costs 4. So I'll do 1, 2, 3. And then I think I will keep my swinging web kick here. The reason I'm doing that is because keeping this in my hand protects me from any minions that come out, because I can just play this and get rid of the minion immediately. And if things go really well, I can do a push on Rhino in not that long. So that webs him up. So if we read web up, it says, hero form only, attached from an enemy, max 1 per enemy. When attached enemy would attack, discard webbed up instead, then stun that enemy. So this will end up blocking 2 attacks from Rhino. Then Black Cat will attack for 1. Surveillance team will remove 1 counter, and exhaust itself to remove the threat. And that ends my turn. So I'll draw up to my hand size. So it's 4, 5. Okay. Now it's Rhino's turn. 1 threat on the main scheme. Now Rhino would attack me, but when the attached character would attack, discard Webbed Up instead, then stun that enemy. Another important thing to note here is that I don't get to draw because he never initiated the attack. Then I get 1 encounter card. Attached to Rhino, +3. When Rhino attacks, the attack gains overkill. So it means excess damage dealt to an ally from this attack is dealt to that ally's controller. At the end of this attack, discard charge. So he's going to have 1 really big attack. So I need to prepare for that. So it has overkill, so I'm not going to be able to block with an ally because that would just be a waste. Now it's my turn. There's not all that much to do right now. I want to save my surveillance team counter here, just in case I need it in a pinch later on. So I'll have Spider-Man for 1. Then I will use these 3 to pay for Swinging Web Kick, dealing 8 damage, bringing him all the way down to 1 health. So Rhino is at 1 health now. I don't want to flip him right now, though, because if I flip him, he'll get tuffed and I'll get stunned, and I won't be ready to deal with that. So I think the play here is I'm going to flip into Alter Ego to get the extra card draw. And I'll hold the 4 Justice in my hand so that when I flip back up, I'll be able to finish all the threat that came down. I am going to flip down and ready all my characters. Drop to my hand size, which is now 6. So I have Swinging Web Kick and Haymaker in my hand, which this means I'm getting close to the amount of damage I need to win here. So main scheme goes up by 1. Then Rhino schemes for 1 plus 1 boost card, 2. So there's 3 total now. Then I get 1 encounter card. Attached to Rhino, another charge. Okay, so he's going to attack me for 9 plus a boost, which is really scary. So I'm going to need to be full health, and I'll have to block on my turn, but hopefully I'll draw into a backflip. But I know I won't get a backflip actually because I have both of them in my discard pile. So this is actually a dangerous situation to be in. Anyways, my turn now. Okay. So looking at my hand, I want to play 4 Justice this turn. I also want to play Helicarrier. I don't actually need to play for Justice if I play... no, I do. I don't. Jessica Jones only has 1 thwart. So I want to get my Helicarrier into play because that'll help me a lot going through the rest of the game. And I'm also thinking that I need an ally because this attack is going to be for 9 plus a boost card. I'll be able to survive it, but then if I get another card that makes him attack me, I'll be too low health, and without an ally, I would lose all my health. So step 1 is I want Helicarrier. So I'll use my Scientist resource, which is 1. Then I'll use 4 Justice and I'll use Spider Tracer and Haymaker as the other 2 resources. So that pays for Helicarrier. I'll exhaust Aunt May to heal 4. Brings me back to 10 health. Then I'll change to hero form I'll play Jessica Jones. Yeah, I'll play Jessica Jones here using, so she costs 3 resources, so 1. Okay, I need to figure out if I want to keep my swinging web kick or finish the break-in. I think that, yeah, I'll keep swinging web kick. So 1, 2, 3 cards. For 4 justice, this is going to stay in my hand. And then Spider-Man will thwart 1, Jessica Jones will thwart 1, and Surveillance Team will thwart 1. Bringing it down to 0. Jessica Jones took 1 consequential damage for that. And then I don't want to flip him right now because he'll just get more attack. So I'm not going to attack with Black Cat. So I ready all of my cards. And then dropped my hand size of 5. So I got another webbed up. So it's possible that I could just web him up again and maybe he never gets to attack. Let's see. So main scheme goes up by 1. Rhino is stunned, so he doesn't attack me. Then I get 1 encounter card. Sandman. Tough. 4 health. So if we do some maths here, if I were to flip him right now, he'd get tough. I'd be stunned, so I'd have to do 1 exhaust to just remove that. Gets the tough off, and then we'd only have 2, 10. We'd only have 10 damage. So we don't want to flip him here. We just want to deal with the board and get more upgrades out. So I want to get my mansion out. So I'll use 1, 2, 3, 4 to get, or no. So I'll put mansion on the table. I'll reduce the cost with helicarrier. I'll use power of justice and swinging web kick, and then my web shooter. So that's 4 resources. For the mansion, I'll exhaust the mansion to draw 1 card. Then I will discard 4 justice to get my other web shooter. This one is out of counters, so it goes away. Okay, and then Black Cat will ping this tough status card off. And then Spider-Man and Jessica Jones will take out Sandman for 4 damage. Jessica Jones takes 1 consequential for that. Then I'll ready up all my cards and draw up to my hand size. So I ran out of my deck. I immediately deal myself 1 face down encounter card and reshuffle. So what we're looking for here is backflips and swinging web kicks so we can end the game. I want a backflip to block all that damage. And then I also want to get 2 swinging web kicks as soon as I can so I can take out Rhino 3. Okay, that should be good enough. Hopefully I get a backflip here. 2, 3, 4. Nice, I got the backflip. 5. So that's perfect. Okay, so now Rhino's turn. 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino attacks me, and this initiates my card draw. So I get to draw again. And then he gets 1 boost card. So it's 2. So he attacks me for 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 damage. So now I can play backflip. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent all of that damage. So I prevented 11 of his damage. That was amazing. That's like the best thing you can do with Spider-Man. It feels so good. Okay, so I didn't take any damage from that. I get 1 more encounter card dealt to me. And then I resolve them in the order they were dealt. So this one first. Oh, also, these discard themselves after the attack. At the end of that attack, discard charge. So, Stampede. When revealed hero, Rhino attacks you. If a character is damaged by this attack, that character is stunned. Okay, so I can choose here what happens. Do I want to... I think my play here is I'm going to web him up and try to play Mockingbird. I think I have enough resources to do that. I could be wrong. Anyways, Rhino attacks me. So first step, Spider Sense. Interrupt, I draw another card. Nice. Okay. Now I have to choose if I want to block. I think I will have Jessica Jones block this attack. Or I can take it. So let's check here. Do I have enough damage to finish Rhino on this next turn? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but 2 of them will be blocked. So I do not have enough damage to finish Rhino this turn. I'd have to draw into Swinging Web Kick. So I am going to play the safe one and block with Jessica Jones. So Rhino attacks for 3, 4, 5. Jessica Jones is defeated. And then resolve the next one. Hard to keep down. When revealed, Rhino heals 4 damage. If no damage was healed this way, this card gains Surge. So Rhino is up to 5 health. Which is okay. We have everything under control. So if you think about this, at the beginning of the game, I had just Peter Parker out and the break-in and take-in side scheme. Now, I have Peter Parker out at full health along with all these cards. So this is what winning feels like on Expert against the harder villains when you have to build out. Is you're winning when you get stronger while the board state doesn't get worse. Okay, so it's my turn here. Also, wait, did I forget to draw my card? No, I didn't. Okay, so I gotta think. I want to web him up. And I need to do a little bit of damage. Okay, so I will first draw a card. You should always draw your cards first. Surveillance Team. This would be an even safer play, which I may or may not want to do. Let's see. First, I'll web him up. So, costs 4. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, I think instead of doing that, I'm going to play Mockingbird. And I'm going to keep a Haymaker in my hand just to play it safe here. So I'll exhaust this. And spend 2 other resources to play Mockingbird. Mockingbird comes into play. I'll thwart 2. And then Black Cat will attack for 1. I'll keep this in my hand. And then I'll ready all of my cards. Mockingbird has 1 consequential damage. Okay. Drop to my hand size of 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. No damage. So again, I'm going to look to control the board state. Okay. Rhino places 1 threat on the main scheme. He attacks me. Initiating the attack lets me draw 1 card. Spider Tracer. Not very useful. And now I gotta decide if I want to keep Mockingbird around or if I want to block now. I'm not going to go for the win this turn, so I will choose to block and keep Mockingbird around for later because she can thwart 1 more time and then block. So it's 3 damage, plus 1 boost, 2 icons. I reduce it by 3, so I take 2 damage. Then, oh wait, I forgot. What am I saying? He's webbed up. He's webbed up and stunned from Mockingbird. So he's never going to attack. So this is an interesting rules question. This is a forced interrupt, and this is a stun. If you check in the rule book on the timing chart, stuns will happen before... Oh, I never drew this card either. Stuns will happen first. it's the fastest thing in the game. And then forced interrupts will be after that. So first, he would attack, so he's stunned. So he doesn't attack. Then I get dealt an encounter card, which is the Ivory Horn. So it gives him +1 attack, spend 3 physical resources to discard it. I'm not really planning on doing that. And now it's my turn. First, I'll use Power of Justice. Wait, no, sorry. I'm breaking my own rules here. So I'll draw 1 with the Mansion. And then I'll use Power of Justice to get Heroic Intuition out. Yep, that'll stay there. I will thwart 1 with Mockingbird. Black Cat will attack for 1. Okay, so I could have actually got rid of his horn if I was looking in here, because I could have just paid with all these energies. So that was slightly worse than I could have done. Because since I didn't have anything else I could do, it doesn't really help much. So now I will attack for 1. Or for 2, sorry. For 2. Bring him down to 1 health. And then from this spot, I have my setup, right? So now all I'm looking for is 2 copies of Swinging Web Kick, because once I get 2, I'll be able to just win the game in 1 turn. So at the end of my turn, I will, well, first, since I'm ending my turn, I'll ready everything and draw, and then I can choose right now cards to discard. I don't want either of these. And then it's debatable whether I should keep Haymaker, because I am looking for 2 Swinging Web Kicks. But I think I'll take Haymaker as a backup plan here. I'll keep it. So then I draw 4 more cards to get up to 5 hand size. There, nice. So this is looking good. I have 1 Swinging Web Kick, a Backflip, and Haymaker. Things are going well. Now, Rhino's turn. 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino would attack me, but he doesn't because he's webbed up. So I discard this, and he's stunned instead. Then I get 1 encounter card. When revealed, if Bomb Scare is in play, assign X damage among heroes and allies, where X is the amount of threat on Bomb Scare. Bomb Scare is not in play, this card gains Surge. So, nothing happens. I just reveal another one. When revealed, you are confused. If you're already confused, this card gains Surge. So, now that I'm confused, that's not actually that bad, because I'm just looking to do damage right now. The main scheme is under control. So, I think this is a good time to try and flip Rhino. So, on my turn now, I'll draw 1. Hopefully it's Swinging Web Kick. It's not. So now I can handle Rhino. So I'll attack for 1 with Black Cat. That defeats Rhino 2. So now Rhino 3 comes out. He's tough. He has 16 health. And stun each hero. So now I want to get rid of this stun. So I will exhaust myself to get rid of that stun. Then Mockingbird will ping off this tough status card. The 3 consequential damage defeats her. So now he's not tough. I'm not stunned. I'll pay 3 here for a Swinging Web Kick, dealing 8 damage. Then I will use Helicarrier and First Aid to play Haymaker, dealing 3 damage. So now, at this point, I'm very likely to win. I'm going to keep Backflip in my hand as a precaution, but I have, if I get any attack event, I will be able to win here, or even an ally. So, in my turn, ready all my characters, draw up to my hand size. There, I got another swinging web kick. So I should be able to win here. Main scheme goes up by 1. Rhino activates against me, but he's stunned, so he doesn't. And then I get 1 encounter card, a minion. This minion has guard, meaning I have to defeat the minion before I can damage Rhino. And now it's my turn. So draw a card. And now I'd need to do 3 damage to this minion, so I'll attack for 3 on the minion. And then I just pay 3. So I play Swinging Web Kick, use 3 resources, and that deals 8 damage, defeating Rhino. So that is how I would beat Rhino on expert mode in true solo with just the core set. Hope you enjoyed.